And welcome to WCBN. This is Adam Bressler and Charlie Goodwin live from the Chrysler Center as we prepare to begin the final home game of the 2020-2021 men's basketball season. Michigan Wolverines face off against in-state rival, the Michigan State Spartans. A lot on the line for both teams. I'm sure we're going to be talking about it all evening. But for the men, or for Michigan, if they win tonight, they lock up the 1 seed going into the Big Ten tournament, which would be huge for them. They'd have to raise up a banner, at least one of them this season, possibly 2 or even 3, depending on how the tournaments in Indianapolis go. And for Michigan State, they are fighting for their lives. Joe Lunardi on Monday put them as the last 4 in, so they are certainly on the bubble. And a win tonight against a number 2 ranked team would certainly work wonders for their case against the selection committee. How are you doing tonight, Charlie, and what are your thoughts on the game?
Well, I am doing well, Adam. It's my first time back in the Chrysler Center in over a year, I would guess so. So psyched as a lifelong fan to be here for games like this. Like you said, huge implications. Wolverines can lock up that Big Ten regular season title tonight, as well as the 1 seed in the Big Ten tournament. Michigan State, like you said, hanging on by a thread, would do wonders for their March Madness hopes if they could pull off this win tonight, or maybe even a win against Michigan in the game on Sunday in East Lansing, or even a run in the Big Ten tournament. So Michigan State doesn't necessarily need to grab a win here tonight, but they are going to be looking to prove that they can hang with their interstate rival and that they're not dead yet. I think we're going to see a very explosive Michigan team coming off that tough loss against Illinois, probably the worst game of the season. You know, it's got to be that or the Minnesota loss, but I think there was so much primed in the Illinois game, and just to fail like that was a massive disappointment. So I think you're looking to see a hungry Michigan team tonight, along with against a Michigan State team who feels like they have a lot to prove as well. So I think you're going to see a really tough battle tonight, and I don't see a smackdown one way or another. I think although Michigan's probably is the better team on paper, and has been this season, I think you're going to see an actually pretty evenly matched game tonight.
I agree it's probably going to be evenly matched, but Michigan does have a tendency to really run away with games. I have in mind that Iowa game last week, that Indianapolis game, or Indiana University IU game last week. Both of those games were pretty close, but then about 5 or 10 minutes into the second half, they just ran away with it. And that is what, that would be huge for them tonight, to lock it up with a big-time win against the in-state rivalry. It's going to feel so odd for this big rivalry night game to be in Chrysler Center with more cutouts than fans. I'm looking around, probably about 100 or so fans, 80-20 in terms of Michigan fans and Michigan State. All of them presumptively are parents or siblings of players, so it's nice to have them in here, but it's a shame that we can't have the general population, the general student population.
Oh yeah, it's been tough this season. I mean, I watch every game on TV saying, I think to myself, imagine if there were fans here, how electric that atmosphere would be, especially a sport like college basketball, where the atmosphere and the surroundings really do affect the players. You know, especially in the Big Ten, where away games are super tough to win, and home games make it a lot easier on you. I think this arena would be hell for the Spartans tonight, and they don't have to deal with that right now because the seats are filled by cardboard cutouts and us.
Exactly, and a couple of parents too. But getting down into the starting lineup for Michigan, we got Isaiah Livers, Mike Smith, Hunter Dickinson, Franz Wagner, and Eli Brooks. So that's been the starting 5 we've seen pretty much the whole season. There hasn't really been too many injuries. And as we begin, we have Julius Marble and Dickinson going up for the tip, and Dickinson wins it, passes it back to Mike Smith. It is senior night tonight, so keeping an eye on those seniors for you. Pick set by Dickinson, pass to Wagner, back to Smith. Smith up by the key, driving towards the basket, brings it out for a deep jumper, and it's good. Michigan with an early lead, 2-point jump shot by Livers. And now Michigan State has possession. Henry has it out by the key. Guarded by Wagner. Pass out to the corner to Langford. Langford finds Watts. Watts back to Langford. Drive towards the basket. Deep jump shot. No good by Langford and rebounded by Michigan. Wagner driving down the court. Trying to slow down the pace as Michigan has a 2-0 lead with Smith getting both points. Drive towards the basket. No good for Wagner. Layup rebounded by Henry. Henry on the fast break goes towards the basket. Tight press play by Livers, and it is blocked. Michigan gets a rebound from Wagner. Once again, Wagner slowing down the pace as Michigan has his 2-0 lead. Passes to Smith, who has both of the points tonight for Michigan. Into the corner for Livers. Deep two, and it looks like it's blocked maybe by Henry. Goes way out of bounds, but barely saved by Michigan State Spartans. Passes it into Watts, who finds Henry again in the corner. Very tight coverage, tight press play by the Wolverines. Langford passes back to Watts. Watts, 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Michigan really pressing hard. Can't get anywhere. Tight pass to Henry. 6 on the shot clock. Into the quarter. 2 on the shot clock. And shot is up just barely off the rim. No good. And I believe they're going to call a 24-second violation on that. I don't think it hit the rim in time.
Yeah, just suffocating defense by Michigan on that possession, like we've seen for most of the season. Just a defensive juggernaut, which is not something you usually see from a top-ranked college basketball team. It's usually all offense, but this Michigan team is really about defense.
Absolutely. And with that, Michigan's going to take the possession again with the lead. Just under 18 minutes left in the first. Inbound pass to Dickinson, errant and intercepted by Watts. Watts driving down on a fast break, goes straight towards the basket, but then can't hang on and brings it back out as he regains control. And it looks like it's going to be Michigan ball. I believe that is a offensive foul on Watts for Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean, same deal as the last possession. Michigan just forces the opposition to make mistakes. They don't try to force your game on the opponent. They'll let you bring your mistakes to them, and then they will benefit off of that.
Yeah, for better or for worse, we saw Illinois really took advantage of that strategy, but for most teams it works well. Michigan has the ball pick set by Dickinson. Deep 2 up for Smith, and he gets another deep jump shot. He is 2 for 2 from the field, has all 4 of Michigan's points as they double their lead. It is 4-0 Wolverines. Trying to strike back is Michigan State. Shot up and no good by Watts. Rebounded by Smith. Smith is really doing it all on senior night. Pass it to the corner for Brooks. Pick set by Dickinson. Deep 3, and it's good! Wow, Michigan is really getting the hot start that they did not have on Tuesday.
How good is he this year?
Eli Brooks, he's been very solid. We're going to miss him. It is senior night, and unlikely that he'll be coming back. We could talk about that at the timeout about some of these implications. But for now, Brown has it, goes up for a 3, no good for Michigan State. Rebounded once again by Livers, really showing his leadership on this team. Brings it to the corner, but then passes, and I believe that will be a foul on Dickinson, a blocking foul. That is Michigan's first foul tonight.
This is the first mistake from Michigan, and that comes 3.5 minutes into the game. Really good start, a lot different than from what we saw against Illinois. I mean, I believe it took them 6 minutes to get about 7 points on Tuesday, and they're really looking to bring the offense tonight. Eli Brooks got that wide open 3, cashed it as he's been doing this season. Look to keep the high energy as this game goes on.
Exactly, and with that, Watts is going to take the inbound pass and really try to regain some confidence for the Spartans. Passes to Henry out by the key. Finds Langford in the corner. Michigan continuing to play really tight, suffocating defense Henry drives towards the basket and finally gets points. It's a 2-point layup for MSU. It is 7-2 as Mike Smith brings it down the court as Michigan has possession. And it looks like we have another foul. This time it is on Austin Davis. So both of the big men have now picked up a foul for Michigan. And with that, I believe we will go into a media timeout with 15:57 remaining in the first. Michigan, besides those 2 fouls by the big men, they've been quite dominant tonight. They've looked really good.
Right, so something super interesting is, first of all, I agree with you, and something super interesting is that both those fouls were off-ball offensive fouls, which is not something you usually see. You usually see a reach on defense or a blocking foul. Mm-hmm. So that, to me, is a little bit of miscommunication within the team when and where screens being set. So I think that you can clean that up pretty easily. Not a great look that Austin Davis comes in because Hunter Dickinson gets the foul and then picks up one himself. But as I've said all season, that is his job, to be in there, be a big body, and get fouls. The real AD. So I think those are fixable mistakes, and I really like what I've seen from Michigan so far. Really good offense, really good ball movement on the offense, and Smith has been money from mid-range as he's been for most of the season. So I think he's going to look to keep being that floor general role, because that's when Michigan really gets its gears going, when he's running the show out there.
Exactly, and with the exception of Austin Davis, all of the starters are remaining in the lineup. We've seen that all season. Davis is usually the first person off the bench, relieving Dickinson at that big man role. Just Dickinson as a freshman, he has a tendency to make some mistakes, draw some fouls, so it's good that Davis as a senior can step in as that reliable leadership role to relieve Dickinson. And Dickinson is still, you mentioned prior to the game, he's a Namath finalist this season. He is quite dominant. There's some talk online about him potentially going to the NBA. I feel like, especially after Tuesday's game, that might be a bit short-sighted. But he has, it's some crazy stat, out of like 8 weeks where he's been eligible for a Big Ten Player of the Week, he's won like 6 of them.
He's won 7 of them,
6
I believe.
6 or 7, yeah, and it's crazy. And 7 alone would be insane, but then you consider that Michigan, they missed 3 weeks with that pause. Over Christmas break, there was about a 10-day span without any games due to scheduling and due to COVID cancellation. So that is just quite impressive. I'm excited to see him come back.
Yeah, I think, he's a really mature player, Hunter Dickinson, but you do see those freshman mistakes every once in a while, which is expected. But what I really like is that for his past 3 years here, Austin Davis has been virtually unplayable. And then this season, he's really stepped up not only in a leadership role, but an on-court role where he's not the greatest defender. He's really in there to pick up fouls. But a lot of times this season, Michigan's able to get the ball into him in the post, and he makes a really nice drop step, really nice turnaround hook, and he puts it in the basket. I mean, he has been playable this year, which is a big add for that team, because Dickinson, like we said, he's a freshman. He's going to make a lot of mistakes, but further than that, his body is not built to last that many minutes right now. So to have someone to come in who can fill in that role is enormous for this team, and has been a big part of their success, whether the fans realize it or not.
Exactly, and as the media timeout closes out, Michigan State will get possession. Inbound pass to Watts from Henry. Finds Henry back out at the key. Passes back to Watts. I'm seeing that Henry and Watts are both leaders on the court for the Spartans. 6 seconds left. Very suffocating D. Loose ball goes out of bounds, and they say it's off the knee of Henry, as Michigan's defense remains tight, holding the Spartans team to 2 points almost 5 minutes into the game. And once again, Mike Smith brings it down the court. Drive towards the basket, but then pulls back and brings it out. Passes to Livers. Back to Smith, and he tries a pass. It's blocked by Watts, goes right out of bounds, and Michigan's going to get that one back. 12 seconds on the shot clock, so not a ton of time to work with. But they still should be able to maybe get a couple formations in. And inbound finds Smith again. Smith to Davis, back to Smith. He struggles, he falls down, but gets himself back up, picks the ball up, goes up for a deep three, and somehow just barely misses. That was 3 or 4 foot beyond the line and was still really close. Rebounded by MSU, goes up for a flying dunk, just straight down the court is Henry, and it's now 7-4. It's a 3-point game. That jump was from beyond the paint when he went up for that dunk. Davis has the ball out by the key. He sets a pick and then passes to Livers. Livers is really being suffocated by Henry on defense. Eli Brooks tries going towards the basket, goes up for a layup, and that one's good. Michigan extends their lead by 2. It is 9-4.
That dunk gave a lot of energy to Michigan State, as you could see on their bench right now.
It did, but Michigan was able to strike back. We saw some issues with that on Tuesday where they let Illinois get all the energy. It had nothing to do. Bingham Jr. is now in on the court. And a loose ball for MSU. Fast break for Michigan. Livers finds Brooks. It's up, and he is fouled. And
I believe it was a goaltend.
Good correction. So that will go in. It is now 11-4 as MSU is really falling behind quickly. Granted,
yeah, you
it's
thought
early.
that dunk would be kind of a turnaround point, but 2 absolutely suffocating possessions from Michigan after that. Let's see if they could keep it up.
Yeah, I'm looking. They're showing that dunk replay. That was quite an electric play on ESPN. And now MSU looking to just put something up there. Langford now has the ball out by the key. Michigan's continuing to really play tight press. Langford drives towards the basket, gets some good footwork, and finds an easy shot. Gets a 2-point layup. It is now 11-6 as Michigan looks to strike back. Wasting no time, Livers goes straight towards the basket, puts it up, no good. Rebounded by MSU. MSU a 3-on-2, tries to put up an alley-oop, doesn't go anywhere, goes out of bounds.
I'm not sure they're really in the position to be pulling off that type of play right now. And you can tell by the fact that the oop went straight into the rim, and now they turned the ball over.
Exactly. Michigan got a lucky break there because they did have a fast break. It was a 3-on-2, and that could have gotten some points. Michigan's lucky to go back scoreless. Reach in by Bingham, but recovered by Davis. No harm, no foul. Pass to Smith. Davis sets a pick, but he's out of position for the pass. Goes right out of bounds, and Michigan with a terrible turnover right there. So I guess Michigan State gets it back. No harm, no foul for them. 12:59 remaining in the first. Michigan leads by 11-6. But Michigan State is 3 for 3 of their last 3 field goal attempts, but there's 2 turnovers sprinkled in there. And now Hoggard is in the court, and he passes to Henry for Michigan State. Langford has it now, gets really tight coverage from Michigan, and another loose ball. Michigan's really making them fight for it, and it looks like it might be a jump, and a jump is called. Michigan briefly had possession. They probably could have called a timeout there, but then Michigan State got a couple of hands on it. And the jump is won by MSU. They have possession. So with that, 12:31 remaining in the first half. Michigan is leading 11-6, but the Spartans have the ball, and they will look to maybe get some momentum back. Only 3 seconds left on the shot clock. Instantly got in, and the shot is completely bricked. Didn't even touch the rim, so it would have been a violation regardless, but Michigan rebounded it. Livers trying to slow it down. Pick set by Davis for Livers. Goes towards the basket, but he can't do anything, so he brings it out. And we have a foul right there on, I believe that is on number 30, Bingham Jr.
I mean, like I said, Austin Davis, not the most athletic, not the most skilled, but he's a big body. I mean, he makes it tough for defenders to get good positioning on him, often leading to a foul.
And Shawnee Brown subs in for Mike Smith. And with that, Dickinson's also lining up, but he'll have to wait till the next timeout. Inbound pass to Wagner. Wagner finds Brook, who goes up for another three. No good. Rebounded by Wagner, though. Bounced all the way back out, and he got it. Passes to Livers in the corner. One-on-one, he's trying to make his way to the basket. 10 on the shot clock. He falls down, and they're going to call that a foul. Michigan with a lucky break there, too.
Yeah, that's an interesting call. I mean, Livers kind of just put all his weight into, I believe that was Watts?
Yes, it was.
Watts, yeah, and I think that was personally an offensive foul, but end of the day, stripes make the decision, so it will stay Michigan ball, get a lucky break there.
Yeah, in Michigan, they do have a 2-minute scoring drought right now as we go into this second media timeout. This is a nationally broadcast game by ESPN, so thanks to everyone for tuning in to us opposed to Dickie V. I know how great and great of a legend Dick Vitale is, but we appreciate you listening to us over him. I don't believe he is in the venue. I think it might be remote, but it's.
We'd hear him if he was in the venue.
Yeah, we'd see him too. He'd be so electric and so animated as well.
It's awesome, baby. Capital A.
Exactly, and we would absolutely know. I remember I broadcast a game from Louisville last season in the Big Ten ACC Challenge in Louisville, Kentucky at the KFC Yum Arena. And at the time, Michigan was ranked 4th and Louisville was ranked 1. And Dickie V was there broadcasting, and that was before COVID. They had like 45,000 people jammed into that arena. But Dickie V, he was on the other side of the court from the press box where WCBN was. But we could see him animated the whole game. And Michigan, they unfortunately were unable to come out on top in that one. But it was still a blast. It was a real privilege to be in the same media credentials as Dick Vitale. And I guess we are doing that tonight too. But for those just tuning in, Michigan is leading 11-6 against Michigan State. Very tight defense from both teams, but especially the Wolverines. They have forced several turnovers. Several loose balls have gone their way, which has been quite fortunate. Having a great night on senior night is Mike Smith as well. Eli Brooks also has a 3, and he has 7 points, quite dominant. It is senior night, as we mentioned. Michigan technically has 9 seniors, which is quite incredible.
9?
9 if you include all the bench players and all the grad transfers. They got Isaiah Livers, Brooks, Austin Davis, Mike Smith. Those are the main guys. Davis usually first off the bench. Shawnee Brown is also a grad transfer. Then they got C.J. Baird, Ozuna Harrison, Luke Wilson, and Jaron Folds. So they got quite a bit of seniors. I'm curious if we're going to see any of those bench seniors like Baird, Ozuna Harrison, Luke Wilson, if they're going to get any minutes tonight for potentially their last game.
I'm sure if the game allows that they'll get minutes, yeah. Juwan is usually pretty good about that stuff.
I think as a former player, he realizes how important this is to some of these guys, especially those who won't be drafted, probably won't ever play organized basketball again. The only organized play will be at the Y for them after this. But it's a big night for the seniors, and Livers and Mike Smith are really making Brooks and Mike Smith are making the most of it. As we return to play, inbound pass to Brooks, speaking of him, Dickinson is back in and he gets the ball. Driving towards the basket, has a real height mismatch. He goes up for a 2-point shot, and it's good. It is now 13-6 as Dickinson gets his first points of the night. He really struggled on Tuesday against Coburn, but he's excelling tonight. Michigan State has it, looking to get some points on the board. Brown really slowing it down. Michigan continuing to play tight D. It's working for them. Passes over to Hoggard. Drive towards the basket, out for an open 3, and it's up and no good. Rebounded, however, by MSU. And we got a foul, a reach-in foul, I believe, by Eli Brooks. And
no one touched him.
yeah,
he just came down in a super awkward position.
Let's see this replay.
If you watch the replay
From
and you watch it on your TVs at home, no one touched him.
Yeah. And that's a lucky break for Michigan State, but they are still trailing by 7 with just over 11 minutes remaining in the first. Not a position I'd want to be in if I'm Izzo and the Spartans. And Watts has it in the corner, goes up for a jump shot, and that one dinks its way in. Watts gets his first points of the night. And Eli Brooks brings it down, slowing down the pace. Michigan loves to do this after an electric score by an opponent, especially the Spartans. Really slow it down and control the pacing of the game. Passes to Brown out by the key. And he finds Dickinson inside, goes up for a break and a second shot, which goes in. It is now 15-8, 4 points for Dickinson, and Dickinson's really rebounding from his struggling night on Tuesday. And Watts has possession. He got 2 on the last possession. Goes up for a jump shot, in and out, no good. Rebounded by Shawnee Brown. Shawnee's making himself known in the paint. Pass intended for Dickinson, intercepted by MSU. Fast break, goes up for a shot, and one. Watts right there gets shot and is fouled. He'll go to the line for an additional attempts on that one. And with that, it is potentially a 4-point game. Watts has been quite electric the past 2 possessions. He's 2 for 3, and including a shot that will send him to the line. And that foul is on Shawnee Brown Jr., his first and the 4th team foul. Both teams might need to be cautious of those fouls. Just over a quarter of the way into the game. Shot is no good, and it's rebounded by MSU. Mistake right there for Michigan, just giving them a second chance as MSU passes to Watts. He made the shot, and he's now controlling the ball. Goes towards the basket, goes up for a jumper, no good. And this one is rebounded by the Wolverines. They regain it. Brooks has it, finds Wagner. Wagner attempted to find Dickinson. He does. Mismatch for Dickinson, goes up for a shot, and that one is good. And he is fouled as well. And with that, it is 17-10 as Dickinson is on a run. 3 of the last 3, all 3 of which from Dickinson. He has 6 on the night, and he goes to the line to make that 7. He was paired up against Coburn on Tuesday, and Coburn got the best of him, held him to only a couple of points, only 2 from the field, and that actually was when Coburn was on the bench. Free throw is up, and it's good. It is now 18-10, Michigan extending their lead. 5 of their last 7 from the field, including 3 of their last 3. And Michigan State, the few fans in the stadium are making themselves heard. And we got an offensive foul from Watts.
Not
Izzo
quite
does
sure.
not like that.
Yeah, I'm not
animated.
exactly sure what that call is.
He pulls down his mask and gets right up into the referee's face.
That's how you can tell they're angry whenever they pull down the mask.
Exactly.
That's the way to show anger in 2020, 2021.
It is. Times we live in. Hunter Dickinson has it out by the key. Sets a pick for Brooks, and he gets the ball and he travels. That was a pretty textbook travel right there. He didn't establish a pivot foot, moved improperly, and Michigan State, and now Jawan takes his mask off to get in the referee's face. We got both Izzo and Jawan getting animated on the sideline about different things. 18-10 with 9:20 remaining in the first. Watts is going to take the ball with tight defense played by Mike Smith. Mike Smith is subbed back in. And a jump shot is up, and it is good for Langford. Deep 2, it is now a 6-point game, 18-12. The Wolverines lead as Mike Smith is going to take control of the ball. Tighter defense has been played now from MSU, trying to stop the hot streak that Michigan has been on. Passes out to Wagner. Wagner inbound to Dickinson, who goes up for deep 2, in and out, no good. And it's loose, and they're going to call a foul on
On Brandon Johns.
Brandon Johns.
There's just been a lot of unfortunate positioning in this game where just players on both teams have been out of place, leading to these fouls that occur just by them being in natural position. But I mean, it happens. But you'd like to see less of that.
8 minutes left. Michigan leads 18-12. Both teams in foul trouble. 5 fouls for the Wolverines, 6 for the Spartans. Wolverines have the ball. Great pass and a wide open dunk for Henry. That was beautiful formation. Hauser just finds Henry unguarded right in the paint, and he slams it down for an electric dunk. It is a 4-point game as Michigan State brings the lead in closer. Mike Smith trying to make something happen. Finds Dickinson, who's double teamed, and loose ball, and it's stolen by Hauser. Hauser, since coming in, both had a great assist and a steal right there. Hauser now has it, and he is fouled. He's just doing everything on the court right now, and I believe that will put them into the bonus.
Yeah, and that was a freshman mistake by Dickinson. Just, getting a little on your high horse, try to take a double team all by yourself. I mean, when your double team means someone else is wide open. So that Dickinson probably has a few of those plays each game where he tries to kind of assert his dominance. I mean, the last few minutes have been just really not good for Michigan. They had a 13-6 lead, and now it's 18-14. So I mean, I'm not good at math, but that's it's a 8-5 run, something like that. Where whenever I try to do math, it's not gonna end up well.
Exactly.
But Michigan State just seems to be the team with more energy right now. Seem to be playing for more right now, which is really not the case. Both teams have a lot to play for. I mean, Michigan, like we said at the beginning of the broadcast, could secure the Big Ten regular season championship, regular season title with a win here, something they haven't done since 2014.
Yeah.
And would be the first team, would have, I believe, the largest lead on a Big Ten title since they did it in 2014. So they could really, they faltered against Illinois on Tuesday, but they could really come out here tonight and prove that they're still the team that everyone thought they were. So I don't understand why they don't look more eager in this game.
Here's a fun stat. So if Michigan holds, assuming they win tonight, and they don't have a collapse of some sort, and they will probably be a 1 seed going in the tournament. The last time Michigan was a 1 seed was the 1993 tournament, and who was starting on that team? None other than Juwan Howard. So he is truly a legend in this Michigan program as they look to repeat as a 1 seed. But looking at the bracketology in Lenardi, Big Ten is just a really deep conference this season. Lenardi has 9 teams projected to make it at the moment, with a 10th on the bubble. 2 teams
who's on the bubble?
It's Indiana and then MSU, but
Okay.
Lenardi has MSU making it and Indiana being one of the first 4 out. But potentially, you could see 9, 10 Big Ten teams make the tournament. How insane would that be?
It's always a pretty deep conference, and I feel like each year we talk about how this is the deepest the Big Ten's ever been. But I think this year truly is, like you said, 9, 10 teams could possibly make the tournament. Out of 14, that's pretty amazing. And that's also with the typical Big Ten, I'll call them blue bloods, not having spectacular seasons such as MSU or Maryland and the
Indiana too.
Indiana as well, and you see teams like Illinois and Iowa have risen to the challenge this year.
Yeah, Purdue, Rutgers is even looking decent.
But I think it's a deep conference every year, but I think now people are starting to take notice of that.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's all around the country. You look, UNC Duke, they're struggling too. Kentucky, and MSU gets the inbound pass. Goes up for a shot, and that's good, is Hauser. He's been dominant. He has a block, a steal, and now some points in just a few minutes of play. 3 minutes of play, and he's really doing it all. 2 assists, 2 points. And Michigan takes it back, trying to get something up there. Pass inbound to Davis, and he loses it, goes out of bounds, and Michigan's going to retain possession. Davis is one of those seniors. He was one of the few bright spots on Tuesday against Illinois. He came in and got some points when the rest of the offense was really dormant. And Michigan leads only by 2 at the moment. It is 18-16. Inbound pass to Livers. And he finds Smith. Smith goes up for a shot. It's in and out, no good, and unable to secure the rebound. And MSU takes the ball back, looking to potentially tie it or take the lead is Watts. And Michigan has been struggling. 0 points in the last 2 minutes and 38 seconds of game clock. MSU Hauser has the ball. He's doing quite well in his 3 minutes of play. Passes out to Watts. 3 seconds. Shot is up. No good. And rebounded by Livers. And looks like we have a foul.
Yeah. Just like I was saying last time, just the position that Bingham's body was in. And I can't do anything to help that, but it ends up in a foul for Michigan.
And with that, I believe Michigan's in the bonus. So I don't think. Oh yeah, this one's going to send him to the line. So then Livers is going to have a chance to put some more points on the board, extend their lead. Michigan has not trailed all evening. However, Michigan State is on a 6-0 run at the moment. So they need to get a tide reversal, potentially from the line. Shot is up, nothing but net is Livers. He gets his first points of the night. He's 0 for 2 from the field, but now he's 1 for 1 from the line. Second shot awaiting us, potentially making it a 4-point game. It's up, and that one's good too. It's now 20-16. Michigan grows their cushion against the Spartans. And they're playing full court press. Really tight play too. And loose ball scooped up by Hauser. Finds Watts. Watts out to Langford. And still continuing to play tight D. Picks up by Hauser. Langford drives towards the basket, passes out to Hauser. And a travel. So now Michigan's going to get the ball back right there. Lucky break for them with 6:24 remaining in the first half. Inbound pass to Mike Smith, the grad transfer from Columbia. He's having a quite decent night, 4 points, 2 for 4 from the field. He takes in the corner. Davis sets a pick for him, allows him to drive towards the basket, and he passes to Wagner, and it's good! Wagner puts it right up. Gets his first points of the night. It is 22-16. Michigan extending their lead. MSU goes up for a shot and is fouled by, I believe that's on Wagner. Wagner doesn't think he did much to deserve that. And now both teams will be in the bonus. With
a lot of time to go.
Yeah, 5:56 remaining in the first. And with that, we have Julius Marble going to the line for Michigan State. He has 0 points tonight. Hasn't really done much of anything. He has 1 rebound, but that's about it. Puts up the first free throw, making it a 3-point game. And now Dickinson's going to go back in. We keep seeing this platooning. One of them gets a foul, and Jawan quickly pulls them between Davis and Dickinson. It's good because Dickinson, he's quite talented. No one's disagreeing with that, but he's certainly unpolished.
Mm-hmm.
And this allows him to get some rest and really hone his craft. Second shot is good. Is Michigan trying to speed up the tempo here. Tries to find Livers' tip, but he recovers it in the corner. Good save by there, possibly saving the possession. And looks like we have another spot foul on the court, defensive. And it is on number 0, Aaron Henry, for Michigan State. That is his first foul of the night, but 8th for the team. And now Livers goes back to the line again. He has 2 points. Both of them come from the line. 22-18, looking to extend the lead further for the Wolverines. It's up, and this one's no good. He gets his own rebound, however, so saves the possession. Passes to Brooks, and it's good. Drive towards the basket, puts it up on top of the board, and it finds its way into the basket. 24-16, 6-point lead. Michigan finally back in it, extending their cushion. Michigan State has it, looking to come back from that. Henry in the corner, finds Marble. Marble on Dickinson. Dick goes up for a shot, no good, and Dickinson gets a rebound right there. Passes out to Smith, finds Wagner, good for 3. And Michigan on a roll right now, 9-point lead for them, largest lead. 6 of the last 8 from the field, including 3 for the last 3. Conversely, Michigan State 0 points in the last 3 minutes of game clock. Well. Just as I say that, drive towards the basket is Watts. He puts it up, makes it a 7-point game as Michigan leads 27-20, 4 minutes, 33 seconds remaining in this first half. Pick set by Dickinson for Brooks, and he goes up for a shot and is fouled. He passes to Dickinson, who goes up for a layup, and will send Dickinson to the line right there. Dickinson started off quite slow, but he's putting up quite a night so far. 7 points, 2 rebounds, and 1 for 1 from the line. He'll look to extend that now with 2 shots. The first shot is up, and that one is no good. Hits off the top of the rim and then goes out of bounds.
Always a downfall of Michigan basketball, free throw shooting.
Livers missed one earlier. Now Dickinson misses one. Second one's good, so it makes it an 8-point game, 28-20, and tight full-court press. Watts finds Henry, who finds Langford. Back to Henry, bringing it down slowly, trying to wade through this molasses of a defense of Michigan. Number 21, Wagner trying to play tight D, but no anvil as Henry just cuts through him like a hot knife. Goes straight towards the basket, puts it up, and it's good. And he draws a foul as well.
Every time you think Michigan's going to pull away, Michigan State comes right back with a big play. It's just they're holding him right, like just close enough so that Michigan really can't get into their rhythm.
Exactly, and more often than not, it's Michigan who commits a foul or something to blow that rhythm. Free throw is good. It's back to a 5-point game as Michigan, they once had a 9-point lead, but Michigan State, as you mentioned, not letting this one get away from them. Pass to Brandon Johns out by the key, seeing some minutes right now. Can't seem to find anyone. Tight defense. Loose ball given up by Brandon Johns, and Michigan State gets a lucky turnover there. Drive towards the basket, inbound. Goes up for a backhanded layup behind the back. No good. Rebounded by Livers. And Michigan passes to Brooks. Brooks with kind of a Euro step there. No good. But put back in by Brandon Johns Jr., extending the lead further. 7 points. It is 30-23. The shot was no good by Brooks as he drove towards the basket, but Brandon Johns was in the perfect position to just tip it back in as he gets his first points of the night. And now we got some tripping on the court. I wonder who that's going to be called on. I think that's on Brandon Johns or Eli Brooks, it looks like. Or no, Brandon Johns it is. We are way up in the rafters. It's tough to read how many fingers the referee's putting up. So in tight plays like that, we can't quite see. But Michigan's playing good. They could be better, obviously. But 30-23 is certainly a position I'd like to be in if I am Jawan Howard, especially compared to previous nights. Like, look at Tuesday, they didn't have the lead from basically 8 minutes into the game onward, they surrendered the lead and just never got it back. And even games that later became blowouts, like I'm thinking Iowa, I'm thinking Indiana, they were really close at halftime. It's been very few games where they had an early lead and they extended it and kept it big. But hopefully for the Wolverines, this will be one of them. With 3 minutes, 15 seconds until halftime, Michigan leads by 7 against the Spartans. And Izzo, what do you think Coach Izzo is saying to his team on the bench?
Honestly, I don't think he's too upset with where they are right now. They're just hanging around there. But like you said, in all of Michigan's blowouts, they never did it in the first half. It always came. There's always an onslaught in the second half.
It always came like 5 minutes into the second half. That's where they really stepped on the gas.
I don't think he's necessarily pleased with where they stand right now, but I don't think he's super disappointed with it either. You know, coming to Ann Arbor against the number 2 ranked Wolverines, down 7 in a game that they've really been outplayed is not terrible. Sorry, I have hiccups right now.
Absolutely. It's not bad at all, and even if they lose both of these games against Michigan, if they keep them both close, I think that's enough of a statement to the selection committee to put them in on that play-in game, have them earn a spot in one of the top 68 teams. But Michigan State, I think at the end of the day, it might come down to just the brand name value. There might be some teams in smaller conferences like Seton Hall, Providence, I guess, might be on the bubble, South Dakota State, but Michigan State might leapfrog them just by virtue of being that blue blood program, even if they might not be as good of a team.
Oh, yeah, name recognition is huge. Can you imagine if a tournament without Michigan State, Duke, UNC, and Kentucky?
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like a fantasy land.
Exactly. Like, if you read the top 10 by AP or the top 25, you'd think it's like a college football ranking.
Yeah.
With the exception of Gonzaga.
Well, actually the exception of us being number 2.
Yeah, yeah. But you got Illinois, Ohio State, Alabama, Michigan, Baylor, West Virginia, Oklahoma. All those are football schools, and with that, Langford's going to go to the line. It's up, and it is good for the first one. It is now a 6-point game with 3:15 remaining. Second shot is awaiting us. It's up as well, and that one's good too. So it's now a 5-point game. Michigan, they had a 9-point lead at one point, but Michigan State won't let them get away with it. Smith has it by the key, finds Wagner in the corner, who pick set by Brandon Johns. Goes up for a 3, right off the front rim, no good, and rebounded by number 11 on Michigan State. And passes over to Henry. Henry's been quite dominant, 9 points so far tonight. Try to get some spacing, he goes up for a shot. However, it's no good, and I believe that will be an offensive foul. Great sportsmanship from Henry. He offers a hand to Wagner, trying to lift him up off the court. They're going to say it's a no play and an offensive foul, as Michigan will take possession back. Looks like Wagner got the wind knocked right out of him.
A bit of a flop, actually, I think.
Yeah, when they showed it on the Jumbotron, you could see it.
I'm sure it hurts, but, you know, I thought he got hit square in the face.
Or in the nose, yeah. We do know there is some history from Michigan State hitting guys square in the nose. One of the guys, Sissoko, hit Ayo Dosunmu the other night. And he's been out for a few games. But as we saw against Illinois, that did not stop them one bit, as they just kept excelling against Michigan, even on the road. 2 minutes, 45 seconds left in this first half. Michigan leads by 5, and they will get possession coming out of this timeout. Brooks is having a dominant night with 9 points. followed by Dickinson with 8. Dickinson, if it weren't for that game on Tuesday, I'd say he might have another freshman of the week in him.
Oh, yeah. I mean, no chance, but, I mean, who cares? He won 7 of them. Won as many as Tom Brady has Super Bowls.
Exactly.
Am I right, Adam?
You know it. If it weren't for that helmet catch, he'd have one less, but I digress. I wonder if Tom Brady is watching this game. You know him as a big Michigan alum.
Oh, yeah, with a side of avocado tequila, rather.
And avocado ice cream. Yeah, he really wants to celebrate. But he tweeted out the other day he doesn't know what he's going to do with all this time he has on his hands. So maybe watching some of his alma mater basketball. Pay Peyton a visit in Indianapolis and go to the Big Ten tournament. Pay Peyton and Pat McAfee, too, a visit from Indianapolis. The Big Ten is lucky. They get to play the Big Ten tournament in the same stadium as the NCAA March Madness tournament. And it's actually in Lucas Oil, which is quite abnormal, even though the Big Ten tournament is usually either in Chicago or Indianapolis. They usually play in Bankers Life Fieldhouse, where the Pacers play. But because the Lucas Oil is going to be set up for the NCAA March Madness, they're going to play the Big Ten tournament there. It's a huge stadium, big cavernous venue, especially for basketball. One of the few venues to host both a Super Bowl and a March Madness. But it will be good. They're planning on having fans there. It is inconclusive whether WCBN will be able to play or not, or commentate, excuse me. We will get back to you. Follow us on social media to stay up to date. And I'm not sure what happened, if it technical got called. But
what?
Apparently Henry's taking 2 shots from the line without any coverage. I have zero clue what happened there if they reversed it. Originally it was a foul on Henry, and now they're letting him take 2 shots. The first one's up, no good. Second one is up, and that one's good. And now, okay.
Well, I
so
guess it's double technical.
Double technical. Now Wagner's taking it. It's up, and that one's good.
That never made sense to me. Just should be like offsetting penalties.
Yeah, and like football,
yeah.
if like it's a holding, but also like defensive pass interference, like they call it a scrub.
Free throw shooting has just been on a downtrend the last few games.
So the first shot for Wagner went in, making it a 5-point lead again, but the second one did not. And as Livers looks to inbound it, because Michigan will get possession there. So still no clue why they had that double technical, but regardless, Michigan has it. Pass to Mike Smith, finds Wagner, back to Smith. To Livers, fakes a 3 and passes to Wagner. Wagner picks up by Johns, goes up for a shot as Wagner, no good. He gets his own rebound, however, goes up for one, and this one's good. And with that, they extend the lead further back to 7. It is 33-26. As with 2 minutes, 16 seconds, Michigan State need to make something happen quick if they want to possibly go into the locker room with a lead. And we got a travel right there as Michigan gets another break. Travel against Michigan State. And Livers inbounds it to Brooks. Brooks slows it down, passes to Johns. Johns been getting quite a couple minutes in this game. Finds Smith in the corner, and Johns sets a pick. And a pass is attempted to Johns that is deflected, and they call it a kick ball.
This is a super pivotal moment of the game. 2 minutes left, Michigan up 7. I think this is where they can really change the game in their favor right now if they end this half in a little run.
Absolutely. They're up by 7 at the moment, but if they can make it even more, just completely demoralize them at halftime. Inbound pass to Wagner, finds Livers out by the free throw line. trying to press towards the basket. Goes up for deep 2, and it's good. He had a hand on him, too. He's looking for the foul, but he won't get it. It is now up to 9 points, so tied for the largest lead of the game for Michigan. As Langford's going to slow it down, look to get some points. No points in the last 2 minutes, 45 seconds for Michigan State. Langford out by the key. He passes to Brown. Brown double teamed by Michigan and finds Hoggard, goes up for a shot, and it's blocked, but it goes in. I believe Livers had a hand on it, but it didn't deflect it. It still went into the basket. Smith gets the inbound pass. It is now 28-35, 7-point lead for the Wolverines. Livers has it out by the key, and he looks to find Brooks in the corner. Brooks fakes a shot, passes out to Johns. Johns with an open lane to the basket, goes up for a shot, and it's good. Great athletic play right there. He had a man on him, but he still got it in. Under a minute left to play, and Langford's going to slow it down, milk as much clock as he can. And we got a timeout called by Izzo.
Really good move there by Brandon Johns.
Absolutely.
Maybe one of his best baskets of the season. Strong baseline drive, lays it up with contact. Johns came in here really highly touted recruit, actually Mr. Michigan his senior year, and just hasn't really panned out to be that player yet. But you do see flashes of greatness from him here and there, and that was definitely one of them.
Yeah, and going into the tournament, especially as a 1 seed with high expectations, Michigan is going to need to have a deep bench. When you're playing 5 games in like 7 days, you can't afford to just have 5 guys. You're going to need people to come off the bench. You're going to need Shawnee Brown to be good. Brandon Johns, Austin Davis. Those are the type of guys who really differentiate a team with 5 solid starters from a team that eventually becomes national champions.
And by my count, Michigan has about a 9-man rotation right now with, you got the starters, then you got Brown, Johns, Davis, and Terrence Williams.
Exactly, and we have yet to see Williams yet this game, but maybe he will come in soon. And inbound pass with 18 seconds remaining, MSU has possession. Hoggard has it out by the key, passes to Langford on the right side. He drives towards the basket, struggles to hang on, but he puts up a shot anyway, and it's a complete brick, and they call a foul right there.
I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah.
I think 2 Michigan players knocked into each other. Something seems to be going on with Michigan right now. Can't quite tell what it is.
Michigan, on the stat sheet in the box score, they look pretty good. They're 3 of their last 3. They have a field goal percentage of 60%. But then again, that doesn't quite match up with the what we're seeing on the court. Like, they're really struggling in transition play. But first shot from the line is good by Brandon Johns Jr. Second shot is up, and that is good as well. Brandon Johns is really making himself a day. He has 6 points tonight, as Michigan has an 11-point lead, largest lead of the night for them. And immediately, Michigan State tries to put something back up. Drive by Hoggard, no good, and we got a fast break by Michigan. And with just under a few seconds left, Shawnee Brown drove towards the basket and wasn't able to get it in time. And as we go into halftime, Michigan leads 39-28 in this rivalry matchup, certainly where they want to be. Up 11, going into the showers. I guess they're probably not showering, but going into the locker room, that's where they want to be, especially against other games, as we mentioned, where they have struggled to get that lead going into halftime, or even the other night where they went in down 11. Much rather be up 11 than down 11. So as a reminder to the fans about the implications of this game, Michigan, they win and they get a banner. With a win tonight, we'll be seeing an additional banner hanging up from the Chrysler Center rafters this time next season. with the regular season Big Ten win, which would be the first time they have won it since 2014. And you mentioned the other time, they also had a pretty big lead then in the conference.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what it was, but I do remember seeing that stat. I mean, regardless, would be huge for Michigan. Like, not only to have, like, what people forget is that this was not supposed to be an amazing year for Michigan. We do have the number one, or they do have the number one recruiting class next year, but coming into this season, they were unranked. We're projected to finish maybe 5th in the Big Ten. So to be a 1 seed overall, rank number 2, and win the Big Ten regular season title is huge.
Absolutely.
And I think really speaks to Juwan Howard's coaching ability.
Yeah, you could tell he has superb experience as a player, both in the NBA and in college. He knows what connects with players. He knows the sport of basketball like the back of his hand. He's been playing it for over 3 decades now. And he is a key coach that shows the power of what a good coach could do. He turned around this, I don't want to say turned around because that doesn't give credit. He continued. He came
Carried
in,
the torch from John Beilein.
Carried the torch from Beilein, yeah. Because Beilein was great, but when he left Michigan on really short notice, kind of abruptly, there were some questions about the future of this program. And especially, you mentioned they were unranked going into the season this year. Many people, many sports pundits, myself included, thought this would be kind of a transition year for them. Where Juwan, he has some of his new guys. He has grad transfers, Mike Smith, Dickinson would be his recruit. But he also has a lot of holdovers from Beilein, Wagner, Livers, Brooks. And it would kind of be a transition year where, if lucky, they'd come third and then maybe make a decent run in the tournament. I think that would be the general consensus. But they completely blew that out of the water. They're now looking to have the Big Ten regular season title with the 1 seed going into Indianapolis and a potential to get a 1 seed in the tournament. And I guess returning to the implications of tonight, so we mentioned for Michigan, they get this big win for them, win the title. Michigan State, they need to make a statement if they want to be in contention. They have the potential, depending on how the seeding shakes up, to play Michigan again in the Big Ten tournament. So that would be next Thursday, a week from today. Wait, next Friday.
Next Friday.
Yeah, Friday. So that means in 8 days they would play them 3 times, which is just crazy to think about. But Michigan State not getting any luck, having to play the number 2 team in the country twice to close out the season, and then going to the Big Ten tournament with their tournament hopes on the line. It's going to be an uphill battle for them. And frankly, they don't need to win either of these games, but as long as they keep it close and then in the tournament they win a game or 2, I think that'll be enough, especially the name brand value of Michigan State might be enough to put them in over the edge. Like, we talk about the name brand value, and Duke, they've had a terrible season, but even they're on the bubble just because it is Duke and Coach K.
Money.
Yeah, and money too. But it is senior night, as we mentioned. So let's take a moment to maybe go through some of the seniors for this Michigan program. They have, obviously, in the starting lineup, Isaiah Livers. He's a 4-year player. He's the last holdover from that Final Four run a couple of seasons ago. He has blossomed into a fantastic player, and he will likely be drafted and be playing in the NBA come next October. Would be quite exciting to follow him. Then Eli Brooks, another glue guy who's keeping this team together, and he's been able to excel on his own right, as we see tonight with 9 points. He will be quite missed, but one thing to mention is that due to COVID and the tournament not happening last year, and due to just all the craziness this year, all seniors basically just get a free year of eligibility if they want it. And some players might not, but I could see a handful of these seniors coming back. We got Austin Davis, who's been here for a while. He really blossomed into a great, solid backup center. First guy off the bench. He struggled and was kind of frustrating at the beginning as a fan, but he has turned it around this season, and he has looked good. Mike Smith, a grad transfer from Columbia, and not that high of expectations for him, but he certainly exceeded them. He has been a key guy on this team in the starting lineup, and a lot of questions whether he'd adjust, like coming from the Ivy Leagues to the Big Ten, even though Ivy's like a D1 conference. It's a huge difference. Like, don't get it wrong when you're playing Princeton and Cornell versus playing Iowa and Michigan State and Illinois. But he blossomed into a great player. Shawndy Brown, another transfer coming from Wake. He's a senior too. Then we got some other guys off the bench. I'm going to keep an eye to see if they play. C.J. Baird, Ozuna Harrison, Luke Wilson, Jaron Folds, all those guys. They haven't seen very many, minutes this season, but
they're walk-ons. I think it's more of a. They definitely bring a lot to the team in terms of culture and hard work. But I mean, at the end of the day, they're walk-ons. But I think if the game situation allows, they will definitely see the court. Juwan Howard is usually pretty good about stuff like that, knows how hard these guys work, how much they put in, and how much even those 30 seconds on the court in a Michigan uniform mean to them.
Exactly. It's big for the Michigan team. This is their final game at home at Chrysler. They're going to be on the road in Indianapolis. They're going to go to East Lansing on Sunday and then Indianapolis. And it's a big deal to get your last home game, and I'm sure the players are disappointed. There's not very many fans in the crowd, but it's still a big deal regardless. And I am wondering, who of these players do you think has a chance of coming back, of the seniors? Do you think Mike Smith might be playing in the maize and blue next season?
You know, it's tough to say. Because like I said, Michigan has the #1 recruiting class next year. So, you know, I think Juwan is a smart enough coach to understand that like seniority comes first, and that those talents aren't just going to start immediately just because they're highly ranked players. But at the end of the day, the lineup that helps the team the most is going to come to fruition. And if that means starting a young stud over Mike Smith, then, you know, that happens. So you kind of have to see. I'm not exactly sure what positions we have coming in next season. I forget off the top of my head. But there's a lot of moving pieces. And I think NBA scouts could maybe take a little bit of a liking to Mike Smith because he's really shown his versatility this year. So he went from being the highest scorer at Columbia, not only Columbia, the entire Ivy League, by a lot. Not the highest usage rate in the country by far. Then he comes to Michigan. He averages 8 points a game, but on 6 shots a game. That's insanely efficient. And just to show his ability to adapt to whatever situation needs to be put in, I think is really good eye candy to NBA scouts to see that, you know, maybe even though he's not the smallest guy, that he can come to your franchise and do what you need him to do.
Exactly. And Smith, he has a bright future ahead of him. Like you mentioned, the NBA might want to take a look at him. I doubt he would be drafted, but you never know. And on the other hand, he'll be a pretty quality free agent in the NBA. And then on the other hand, some of these other seniors might have a chance to make some big bucks in Europe, maybe in Asia. Shawndy Brown in particular, I could see him playing in Eastern Europe. he's the type of player not quite great enough to play in the association, maybe the G League, but I think he'd prefer to play overseas or not. But those just tuning in, Michigan has been quite dominant today, but Michigan State hasn't let them get out of their grasps. It is 39-28 at halftime. Michigan leads by 11, looking to clinch the Big Ten title in just over 20 minutes of play left to potentially do it. And with only a few minutes left until the second half tip-off, both teams coming out of the tunnel. We got Michigan first and then Michigan State and the shoot-around. This is really one great team. I'm certainly going to miss them in the future. Like, I know the recruiting class is phenomenal, but it's tough to recruit a good culture.
Yeah.
We're looking at the
totally
culture this year, and I'm almost glad they didn't get, there was some drama last spring when Isaiah Todd decided against coming to Michigan.
Joshua Christopher as well.
Christopher as well, too. And that was some drama, but I almost say it worked out well in the end, because you never know how those young guys, being the best player on every court they've always stepped on their whole life, coming into a Big Ten game, how they blend with that culture. When, since neither of them signed, we had the opportunity, Michigan had the opportunity to get Mike Smith and Sean D. Brown, both of whom have played quite quality roles, especially culturally on this team. And it's tough to replicate, so I wouldn't trade this team for anything. I think it is optimized as it could be.
I think the best way I could sum it up is the day after we lost out, or Michigan lost out on Isaiah Todd and Joshua Christopher, Hunter Dickinson tweeted out a picture of Juwan Howard when captioned just "have faith in this man."
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way you can sum it up. Like, it's great to always get that top recruit, but what's more important is a team culture and for all your players to be there for each other, because you can't recruit that, like you said. So I'll throw it back to Duke, 2018-19 season. They had the 1, 2, 3, and 9 recruits. Did they win a championship? I don't think so. So you don't always need like the best players. You just need people that are. You obviously need good players. I'm not going to sit here and preach some Rudy sports movie thing to you, but you just need guys that are willing to play for each other and who are willing to put in that extra effort when the going gets tough. And that's definitely what Michigan's had here. Yeah. Back to your point about, sorry, it's one last thing. Back to your point about building a culture. That's something John Beilein did super well, where he never got the top guys, but he would take these 3- and 4-star kids and develop them into NBA prospects. I mean, Michigan has got 11 players in NBA right now. So that's something that John Beilein, in my opinion, was second to none at, was developing talent. Juwan's clearly great at that too, but I think his strength lies more in recruiting those guys that are already a little more ready.
Yeah, I could not sum it up better. Speaking of that Duke team, the team that eventually beat them is on the court right now with Michigan State. I would imagine a couple of holdovers are still playing from that team. But Juwan Howard is a 2-time NBA champion. You can't replicate that. It's tough to find. Like, I'm not saying a ring is everything, but it is indicative of the hard work and the effort and just the basketball IQ that he has. Like, which is incredible. And the ability to be a 1 seed your second season when half of the team isn't even your guys, when it's still a young team, and you're still getting your foothold, is nothing short of marvelous. It's incredible. It's phenomenal.
And we're gonna conveniently not mention how many minutes he played for those Miami Heat teams.
Yeah, no, but he was a leader on that team, even though it was led by LeBron, obviously, and led by Bosh and Wade. But he was a good.
Some would say he was the fourth piece of that tree.
Maybe, but
no, I'm fine.
I don't know. It's indicative of not many players
no,
could
totally.
get
I mean, I agree with you. And
20-year career.
Listen, no ring's an easy ring.
Yeah.
But with the second half about to start here, I'll be taking over play-by-play. We're at Chrysler Center, Michigan with a 39-28 lead at the start of the second half. We have esteemed WCBN alumni Nick Hornberg listening at home. Miss you and love you, Nick. This isn't volleyball, though. As Brooks passes it to Wagner, passes it to Smith, drives baseline, measures his options, kicks it back out to Wagner. Over to Smith. Dickinson trying to get position inside. Finally does. Now he's got the ball. Backing down Bingham. Kicks it out to Smith. And it's stolen, but a foul is called, and it will stay Michigan basketball.
Yeah, Michigan with a lucky break right there. Bingham had a steal, and it would have been a fast break if not for the foul call. And Michigan's going to get a new shot clock even from that, too.
Brooks inbounds to Smith. Pick set by Dickinson. Smith to Franz in the corner. Franz to Dickinson. The drop step. Puts it up. And in and out. Just misses. Rolls off the rim. Michigan State coming down the floor now. Henry with the ball. Pick set by Bingham. Henry looking inside. Kicks it out. That's Marble. Back inside to Marble. Marble with the hook shot. It's good. 39-30 Michigan.
And that was a bit of a mismatch there for Marble, bringing it in within 9 points.
Dickinson back to the basket. Hands it off to Brooks, who hands it off to Wagner. Wagner looks inside, stays out on the three-point arc. Looks for Dickinson inside. Finally gets it there. Dickinson baseline, trying to back down Marble. Back out to Wagner. Three. And just misses. Rebounded by Michigan State, and they'll take it the other way.
Deep three right there. It was 2 or 3 feet beyond the line.
Henry tries to drive inside. Kicks it out. Who passes it to Langford. Now to Marble. Back to Henry. Henry drives inside, tries to put it up over Dickinson, misses, gets his own board, and gets his own board again. Now he's able to take it back outside and reset. Drive inside. Out to, I cannot see the number. Now Henry has the ball. Henry looks like he wants to pull up, gets inside, layup, and it goes in after a few rolls around the basket. A 4-0 run for Michigan State to start this half. It is 39-32 Michigan. Brooks with the drive in. High layup off the glass, no good. Dickinson dives for the rebound, secures it back out to Smith, to Wagner, who puts up the three. Bang! A three from Franz Wagner. It is 42-32 Wolverines. A much needed basket there.
And that puts some momentum back in this team. Michigan State had a 4-0 start of this half. Michigan strikes back with a three of their own.
Oh, stolen by Livers. He was going for the jam, but now he's trying to get position inside. Puts it up, no good. Can't get the board. Rebounded by Michigan State. Out to Henry. I'm sorry, that's Watts. I cannot see the numbers right now.
Yeah,
But it is a charge drawn by Mike Smith, Michigan basketball.
And with that charge, Michigan will take possession. Already 2 fouls committed by Michigan State, only 3 minutes into the half. Michigan leads 42-32 with possession as well.
Smith brings up the ball, hands it off to Franz. Franz quickly hands it back. Smith around Dickinson's pick. Staying outside that three-point arc. Now swings it to Brooks. Brooks back to Smith. Smith uses Dickinson's pick. Puts it up. Inside to Dickinson. And Dickinson jams it home. Great pass by Mike Smith on what looked like it would be a shot attempt.
And Dickinson now in double digits, too. Possibly another case at Freshman of the Week. You never know. Big second half and a big night on Sunday.
Maybe. As Aaron Henry drives inside. Tries to get position, can't, kicks it out to Hall, who kicks it back to Henry. In the corner, drives baseline. The reverse layup, no good. Rebound, Franz Wagner. And it's quickly stolen by Langford, who puts it up a mid-range shot, which is no good, and is rebounded by Wagner, who is quickly fouled by Marble. Just really disjointed and discombobulated basketball right here for Michigan State.
Absolutely. And Michigan State, they had a very hot start coming out of the locker room, getting field goals on their first 2 possessions, but they've been silent since then, allowing Michigan just to extend that lead further and further with Dickinson and Wagner.
Smith brings up the ball, measures his options, goes around Dickinson's pick. Another pick. Smith puts it up for 3. It's good. Another 3 for the Michigan Wolverines. And it is a 47-32 lead. Michigan starting to break this game open a little bit with an 8-0 run over the last 2 minutes. Langford puts up a mid-range shot. No good. Rebound Dickinson, and the Wolverines will go the other way with another chance to extend this lead. Smith brings it up, goes around Dickinson's pick. Another 3. And it's no good this time, but the rebound by Eli Brooks, who passes to Dickinson. Oh, hum-diddly-dee. The jam by Hunter Dickinson. Timeout, Michigan State. It is madness here with the 50 fans in Chrysler Center and the Wolverines with a 17-point lead.
That was phenomenal. Eli Brooks having athletic play, saving that rebound from going out of bounds. Doesn't even control it. He kind of bats it in the direction of Dickinson. Almost an alley-oop-esque. He grabs it and just slams it down. The whole team, the whole bench, the whole fans are fired up after that. And we were talking about this, about Michigan's tendency to crack games wide open about 5 minutes into the second half. This is what's happening. They had an 11-point lead at halftime, and before they know it, it's already up to 17 and growing. 10-0 in the last 2 minutes. And in that same time, 0 points from Michigan State. They're firing on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, just an electric start to the half for Michigan right now. 17-point lead, and Michigan State just looks absolutely lost on the other side. I mean, for those listening at home and those who are familiar with the NBA, I'm trying to hit all the NBA catchphrases tonight. Started off with a bang by the world-famous Mike Breen. And then a hum-diddly-dee by the famous Horns announcer, who I actually don't know his name. I just get his calls on my social media all the time.
You know what we need? We need some Dickie V catchphrases. He's commentating on ESPN.
To be fair, I did a Dickie V impression in the first half.
Yeah.
But for those who aren't listening, I guess I'll hit it again. These Michigan Wolverines, they're awesome, baby. Capital A.
Don't even need to tune to ESPN for that. You could get it right here on WCBN Sports. And absolutely, this game is feeling great for Michigan. If they put this on autopilot, assuming any huge comeback, they are well on their way to the Big Ten regular season title. And the bigger the blowout, the worse of a chance that Michigan State Spartans sneak their way into the tournament. So even though for Michigan it might not mean much whether they win by 2 or win by 22, but it does a lot for Michigan State. And it does a lot for these seniors who are going to come on off the bench. They don't want to take it easy. They don't want to slow it down and show some mercy. This is senior night for them at home. They are getting possibly their last minutes of the season.
Yeah,
for some of these players.
I mean, just over the last 2.5 minutes, no points for MSU. And while Michigan has, in that same time span, been on a 10-0 run, they just cannot get anything going right now.
Yeah, absolutely. And this is the worst time for MSU to get cold. In the first half, we saw Michigan take some leads, but the Spartans were always quick to strike back. And just unable to do it now. Michigan on a 10-0 run, including a 3 and a dunk and just electric play on offense by the Wolverines.
Yeah, they're going to look to keep this up.
And as the media timeout closes, for those tuning in, it is 49-32. Michigan leads by big. And Michigan State will get possession, however, following the timeout, as Michigan trying to extend that lead further.
Langford brings up the ball, looking to get anything going for these Michigan State Spartans. Kicks it to Henry, who kicks it to the corner. Langford back out to Hall. Inside to Henry, puts up the layup. It's good. Michigan State breaks that scoring drought of a little over 2.5 minutes. And now Mike Smith will bring up the ball for the Wolverines.
Yeah, and they broke that scoring drought, but it doesn't mean this game's very much closer.
Smith out to Wagner. Offensive foul, I think.
On Austin Davis. Davis has struggled with fouls both Tuesday and today. He has 3 fouls tonight.
I mean, honestly, a little, not the best game for Austin Davis. I mean, he's had, not that he's that great of a player, but he's had much better games this season.
Tuesday included. He got 7 points on Tuesday. He has 0 points so far. And he is a senior, so they might hold them in a bit longer than maybe some of the other players. But you're absolutely right. He's had better nights.
Yeah, I mean, I like him personally. I think he's a great player. Sometimes he just looks lost out there. Same with Brandon Johns.
Absolutely. Brandon Johns has had a good night, though. He has, let's see how many points, believe 6 points, 2 for 2 from the field, 2 for 2 from the line as well, including an offensive rebound. And that's about the type of player he is at his best. He's never going to go and get 12, 15 points, but solid 6 points, including some key momentum changers, is all Jawan is going to be asking from him anyway.
Yeah, I mean, in a 15-point game, all he's got to do is not be terrible. As blunt as that sounds.
He does have 2 fouls and a turnover, so he has some room for improvement.
Oh, yeah.
In a 15-point game, that is acceptable. And
well, I mean, this is a weirdly long timeout.
It's a media timeout, so we could see Dickie V on the television promoting his gala. And he's really flexing. He has 3 Emmys in the background.
It might be time to hang up the
No,
mic.
you can't hang him up.